Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Um, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're all doing well. This is just going to be a recap of Real Housewives of Potomac season 6 reunion. Pretty much just a recap, free chat. We're just going to talk about the reunion, what our thoughts are. I know I have a lot of opinions so far about the season, but we're going to talk about the reunion. So, yeah. I hope you all watched it. I hope you all watched it. I just finished watching it and it was a lot. Yeah, but as you're coming in, please make sure you like this video and also make sure you have subscribed if you haven't. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the countdown on. Just let kind of some people get in. And make sure like this video. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put the countdown on, and we will be back. All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Hey, 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 everyone. I hope you are all doing good. Happy Sunday. Real Housewives of Potomac. The reunion is season 6 is finally. Well, this is like episode 1. This is just going to be a just thoughts so far about the reunion. It was a lot. Yeah. So, let me know if you've watched the reunion. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. It was definitely a lot. Hey, Lucy. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, Lucy. Can you
Hey,
hear
I can hear you.
me? Oh, hey, hey, hey. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. I'm good, good, good. Okay. Yeah, I'm doing good and just got done finished watching the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. And hey, if you're entering the chat, let us know you're here. Say hello, hello, hello. All right. So let's just go ahead and get started. What my thoughts about the reunion were so far. I guess let's go ahead and rate it. So how would I rate Real Housewives of Potomac reunion? Okay, I think I'm gonna give it about mm, I'm gonna give it like a 7. I think it was okay. Well, maybe a 6. It was okay. But I'm here to mostly talk about Dr. Wendy. I'm here to talk about I'm here to talk about Candace. I'm here to talk about Giselle. I'm here to talk about Mia. Um, Karen did have a lot this episode, a lot of talk speaking points this episode, but I'm mostly here to talk about mostly Dr. Wendy and Candace and Giselle and Mia. That's who I'm here to talk about so far. Okay, so we know this is season 6 of Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. Hope you guys can all hear me well. And a lot of some things have changed. It looks like some of the seatings have changed. Wendy has actually replaced Karen. Now Wendy sits, so the two people that are sitting next to Andy is Wendy and Giselle. And we all know that used to be Giselle and Karen. Now it's Wendy and Giselle. Um, yeah. And I mean, I don't know how to feel about that. I think I'm pretty okay with it with the seating because of I guess Wendy did have a lot of, a lot of things that a lot of like a storyline. They usually sit the people next who are next to Andy, people who usually have, they had a big storyline. That's why Nini's always sitting there. That is why sometimes it's Kenya, sometimes it's Candy. It just depends. It always like, rotates. It's usually people who have a big storyline. Okay, so my first thought about the reunion, guys, I was so annoyed by Wendy this reunion. And I actually liked her during the season. Wendy got on like I was just so annoyed. I don't know if you all were like that. Like I was literally so annoyed with Wendy and Candace. Well, not mostly, but Wendy. I was so annoyed with Wendy this reunion. She would not let any. She was just so rude. Absolutely so rude. I don't know if it is and just because of how rude she was to to Mia, especially Mia. Wendy was so rude to Mia. Like it got to a point where Mia was talking. I mean, I guess Candace was saying something to Mia and she said, "Shut up." I was like, oh, it's like Wendy came to this reunion guns blazing. I don't know. I don't know if I liked it. I mean, I don't know. It was too much. Too much. Lucy, what did you think about Wendy this season? Because I was like, is this the same Wendy I'm watching from the season? What is actually going on?
Uh, your guess is great, good as mine. I was a little, I mean, in the beginning of the season, we were kind of rooting for Wendy. And, like she was able to, do some things that she's never done before in terms of like, just changing her looks and doing, and going, going for what she wants, maybe like a mommy makeover. We were really, screaming for her when she came into the Real Housewives of Potomac. It was more like we knew her as Dr. Wendy. It was more of everything was like scholarly and stuff. But then we kind of got like a different side of her this season. However, this reunion was a little bit different. I feel like she definitely came off a little different compared to how it was on the show. Um, I wasn't really expecting that all of that from Wendy this season. Well, this episode of the reunion. She just like you said, she came like gun blazing. I'm not sure if there's why it was towards like that heat was towards Mia. It just seemed like a lot was, a lot of she felt like she had to like go after um Mia for some odd reason. Yeah, but your guess is good as mine. Then she's it was a different Dr. Wendy. Sin, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. I'm still here. Yeah, it was honestly too much. It came off way too judgmental. And it was kind of like they kept honing on the same thing about we all knew that Mia told us that she was, she worked for the gentleman's club and she was, a, stripper. So and she said it, Mia said it. Of course, there was some, her story wasn't as upfront, but as like straight. But, she said it. And there was some discrepancy with her rejuvenation that she did vaginal rejuvenation that she did. There was some discrepancy in that. she called it something else. I think she just used the wrong medical term for it, you know. But I guess it's all in the same umbrella, it's all in the same umbrella. And they're just all trying to decode her story. They're all trying to, um, you know, pretty much decode her story, what she did, what she did not. And I mean, it's something that she did for herself, right? That's something that Mia decided to do for herself. Why are the ladies so concerned about what she did? Why are they so concerned about, oh, is she lying or is she not? I mean, yes, there's some discrepancy here and there, but the way they were saying it, it was just like it just came off so judgmental. And honestly, it's really making the show. I mean, I watched the show, I watched the season completely, and I've seen how the show is churning out. I know we always say Giselle is judgmental, but it's just it became from maybe one person being too judgmental to three people now being judgmental. Wendy she was being extremely judgmental on this reunion. Candace was being extremely judgmental. We know that Giselle can be judgmental, but this is like they were just taking it to an extreme. Like they were just taking it to extreme. And considering someone who did a whole mommy makeover, why are you judging Mia for something she did for herself? you know and I don't know, I honestly really I didn't like it. I didn't like how I just don't like the trajectory that the show is going into. I think it's just becoming very, very, the girls are becoming way too judgmental. The girls are I think it's just, I don't know, like, because the show used to be good. The show used to be very, very good, but it's becoming too, I don't know, it's just becoming a little bit too much. It honestly is becoming a little bit too much. And so that's one thing I noted, that the reunion, the ladies were being extremely judgmental. And let's talk about Andy and him pretty much. Okay, let's talk about Andy, Giselle, and Candace. So this whole time, Andy has finally realized that it wasn't Monique that was the problem. It was actually Candace that was a problem. Giselle said that if Mia had, did this to you or hit you or so, then she would not have fault her because of the altercation that Mia and Candace had, where Candace tossed the salad at Mia and Mia tossed the salad back at her. So I guess they're all starting to realize that Monique is actually not the problem. It was actually Candace this whole time. So I really think they honestly owe Monique an apology, because, it's like Candace is honestly becoming the common denominator in all of this. And Andy was warning her about the way she talks to people, the way that she goes for the jugular, the nasty things that she says. And she pretty much says that it's not her fault that people cannot take what she orates out of her mouth or what she says out of her mouth. And that's not her fault. And you can't tell someone how to respond, you know, or when people get into an argument, you can tell them how they can respond or what they should say. And what are your thoughts about that? Like, do you think that, like what exactly are your thoughts about, how Candace lashes out at people, how she talks to people? What are your thoughts? Because yeah, hear what your thoughts are, Liz.
Well, sen. Candace, she's, I think she has to be definitely hold some sort of accountability for her actions. I think after her and Monique last season, the things that happened between them, it may have, looked really bad on Monique's side in terms of, her not being on a show any longer. But however, with Candace, I think that, when she's now seeing like she's the common denominator of everything, I think it's time that, she's hold to some sort of accountability. Because since Monique is gone and then now she's still on the show, and it seems like she's continues to go on and go on, and she's not really, taking responsibility for her actions. She's not filtering what she is saying. She feels like, it's not her fault that people can't take out what she dishes or what comes out of her mouth. So I feel like at this point, we need to hold Andy and Bravo needs to hold her needs to hold her accountable for her actions at this point, because we've all seen it even through last season and now this season, and it's like she's still continuing, and there's no stopping point for her. It's starting to now look like a little bit more of a Nene, if you get what I like, in terms of, them going, them not being accountable for their action and them blaming someone else. I would say for how they are, how they're acting and then how others are receiving them. So it's starting to look a little bit like a little Nene, like little Nene-ish. I mean, like, don't you see that don't you kind of see that, like, with Candace, like, kind of with Nene's actions in ways, and don't you kind of see that resemblance?
Um, it's not no, I would never compare what Candace is doing to what Nene did. Um, the thing about it is like Nene knows she did, what she did, and she would say it, but Candace, it's like she goes like it's like she has no in between. She's like an extremist. It's like there's no in between. It's either left or right. There's like no in between. Um, and she uses she uses arrogancy to pretty much defend her actions, to say, "Oh, you can't," or she uses like, "You can't handle what comes out of my mouth," or, "You can't," it's like, you know, or yeah, she pretty much uses, like, this kind of tone, like, "Oh, you can't handle what comes out of my you can't handle how I, orate my, my reads or my comeback." I mean, I guess, like, not everyone can I don't know. It's not that no one can handle it. It's just it's too much, and it's just becoming very toxic because it gets to a point where, yes, you talk to your castmates like that, but you also talk to like people who your loved ones as well too. You talk to your mom like that. You talk to Chris like your husband like that. And it's not just like your castmates, and you also talk to supporters like that too. So, and you talk to your family members like that. So, what is actually the problem? It's not because people can't, it's not because people can't handle what you're saying or what orates out of your mouth. It's like you also talk to your family members like that as well too, Candace. Yeah. And it's honestly it's just a lot. Okay, now moving on. Pretty much they talked about once again the whole Jamal incident. Andy is grilling Giselle about Jamal. So she's grilling Giselle about Jamal, and it really and I it becomes a little bit misogynistic when it comes to, and I'm gonna have to give it to say it this about Karen as well too. It becomes a little bit misogynistic on Karen's end and also on Dr. Wendy's end, because it's like it's almost kind of like they're throwing in her face that Jamal is cheating on Giselle. It's like they're honestly throwing it in her face that Jamal is cheating on Giselle. And there is a comment that Dr. Wendy made, and I was just like, I was just so appalled because I was like, yes, Dr. Wendy, yes, get Giselle together this season. Dr. Wendy is bringing it, but just Giselle says she's dating, she's trying to date, she's trying to date and stuff, and really just trying to get out, put herself out there. And I honestly started to kind of feel bad for Giselle because it was like you have these ladies who are honestly they're really throwing it in her face that she's pretty much a single mom. And I was actually really starting to feel bad for Giselle, really throwing in her face, oh, you don't have a man, or you don't know how to keep a man, or. And she said that she's actually trying to date, and she's dating a newscaster, or not a newscaster, but a commentator. And I guess the commentator was actually Van Jones, who she went on a date with. And Wendy made a comment and she said, "Oh, he'll never date someone like that because she's not his type. She lacks integrity." That's what she said. Pretty much Van Jones would not date someone like Giselle because she lacks integrity.
Seems a little judgy there, Wendy.
Thoughts so far, thoughts about that, Lucy. I was just like, wow. I can't believe you said this on national television.
That's what I'm saying. I said it just seemed like a little judgy there. Like making that type of a comment about, that's like someone saying the same thing about her. I mean, I'm pretty sure if the roles were reversed, she would feel like, Giselle judged her. Just the same way she felt like about the season that, Giselle had an issue, with her new image or her confidence. So I feel like she's now doing the same thing she felt like Giselle was doing to her on the show. Like just basically just judging her for and it regardless of I'm really disappointed that actually Wendy made that comment. It was again it was just very judgmental, very very judgmental. And I don't know when it's, like you could actually make a comment about someone's relationships in terms of, whether or not that person, how or why that person is into into this person, like make that type of a comment. It wasn't something I was expecting Wendy to say. It wasn't something I was expecting her to say. And it's interesting because I mean, she's been through something like this in terms of like, throughout the season, they were allegedly saying that Eddie had cheated on her. So it's just like to turn around and just make this type of a comment as a woman. We're trying to build each other's, build confidence, and for her to say something like that it was a low blow from Wendy.
Mm. Yeah, and I mean, and it got to a point where I was actually like, I'm actually feeling. I've never thought that. I was like, I'm actually feeling bad for Giselle because it's like you can tell like she's looked like there's really no one like that's here to defend me. And all of the ladies have somebody. Karen has Ray, Wendy has Eddie, and when all the husbands comes out, it's like she's the only person that doesn't have anyone to actually come and defend her you know and it's like the whole thing where they kind of like I'm really starting this is so funny because I'm really starting to look at this in a different way because it's like the whole thing where all like in Atlanta where the ladies try to ridicule Kenya about not having a man you know she doesn't have a man to stand by her, she doesn't have him, and then it just kind of gets a little sad because you have Giselle who is a single mom raising three girls, and I can only imagine how tough that is, especially three teenage girls. And I'm really going to give Giselle her accolades because it was like all the things that, you know, like learning how to drive, that's all on her. That's her responsibility. That's all on her. Teaching her. And they talked about her teaching Grace how to drive and all that kind of stuff. And it's like that everything falls on her.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because even the season when that particular episode where she, Grace was, she went for her driver's test, and it seemed like it's a lot for Giselle. It seems she still has to get the backlash in regards to Jamal. It seems like it's always a blow every season. They always have to go back to what happened between her and Jamal, and it seems like she's always getting that last blow. So it's starting to kind of look a little bit, and I don't want to say it like let me,
Okay,
bull.
it's not no, it's not that because I just feel like it's becoming just too misogynistic, and too
Okay,
judgmental.
well, let's okay. So it's too misogynist. Okay, let's use that. Let's use that term then. So it's just starting to it's always it blows my mind. It's just like, are they looking down on her because of what happened with her and Jamal, or it's like she can't she's not good for anyone. You get what I'm just like because of all of that. It's like they're looking down on her, possibly like her parenting and like in terms of in relationships. It just seems like she's just getting all like that low blow
Yeah,
type of direction.
it's almost like they have like this like, "Oh, she can't find love again." I just have to say, Giselle, I mean, you guys, I mean, she will be able to find love again, you know? Sometimes it's like, "Somebody's gonna love me one day." One day.
I, yeah, and I believe it too. Me, Kenya. I mean, Kenya did, and her and Mark, although they're not in a good state right now in terms of their relationship. But however, Kenya, and they always went, you know, it's like every time they always. That's why you can't keep a man. It's always that term for Kenya. Kenya Moore. It seemed like all the time the girl, they would have these come. Oh, that's why you can't keep a man. Why is it that she can't keep him? Why is it always that low? It's like they always look down on her, and it just seems like it's giving me that type of behavior. The way they did Kane is the way that it's like they're looking at Giselle.
Right. And it's like, uh, I mean, Giselle, I mean, she has everything. I mean, she has done something for herself. She bought a house, regardless how the house is. It's hers, it's her own. I mean, she's literally worked, it's her own. It's under her name. It's not under Jamal Bryant's name. It's under her. She has put a roof over her and her kids. Um, so I mean, Giselle obviously, and she's fixing it up the way she likes it. May not be up to everyone's taste, but I mean, Giselle is trying to do things for her own, and she's doing it. So I think that, maybe next season we get to explore about Giselle's actual dating life, what is actually going on. But I think that they really need to stop this whole, because someone is actually going to actually Giselle will find love again. Someone's actually going to love her, so yeah. All right. So, um, okay, so another main thing I forgot to mention, Nicki Minaj, we all know she's going to be hosting Real Housewives of Potomac, but in the beginning, they had a video where like she said that she couldn't make it, but we know that she's going to actually be hosting. And the ladies, they were all sad. Oh, Nikki, I really wanted you to come host and stuff. So that was like, I guess that was like a main point. Another main point is that, okay, let's actually talk about Nikki. How do you think she's going to do as a host? A host, because she's a big fan of Real Housewives of Potomac.
Oh man, Nikki.
Nikki, Nikki, Nikki.
To be quite honest, I don't know how she's going to really grill the ladies. I think she's definitely going to be very inquisitive. I really do think so. I think just by just listening to Nikki at times and the way she just comes off, I don't think she's gonna be phony. I think she's just gonna be really real. I don't think she's gonna take sides. And I think she's just gonna get straight down to the point and ask some questions that that she herself maybe possibly wants to know. I think that's definitely what like how she's going to really run the show. I think the questions that she has in mind are the questions that she's going to ask. And I think she's definitely going to pour her like her, um, come up with the questions, possibly based on, maybe popular questions that people have in mind. I think that she's definitely going to bring it all out. I don't think she's going to sugarcoat anything. I think she's just definitely going to do some grilling and get straight to the point.
Exactly. Period. Okay, so I think I do too. I think that Nikki's not really gonna sugarcoat anything. And then Wendy was like, "Yes, I'm definitely a Barb."
Oh, she's
Oh,
Wendy's a Barb. Oh,
yeah, she was like, "I am a Barb for sure." I'm like, "Okay, okay, okay, Wendy." All right. So I actually was thinking, and it's just a side comment, like I was thinking Karen was actually doing the most. I felt like she was definitely trying to get some speaking points in. But I'm like, Karen, dear, I like you and all, but it is not your turn. And I just didn't like the trajectory that the ladies were doing. Wendy was number one, first in the class, doing all of this interjecting. When Indy was trying, she would not let, oh my God, she would not let Mia speak. I'm like, Wendy, dear, like, it's okay. You know, it's okay. Just, I know you're happy. Just calm down just a little bit, you know? Um, yeah, it was just a lot. I think I don't like I said, this is just a recap. It's nothing. It's not going in order so far, but it's just a recap just to kind of get some things out. And just because I'm feeling a little tense because I don't know, like the reunion just made me feel some kind of way. It honestly did. I'm excited for part two, but they said it's supposed to be four parts of the reunion. Okay. All right. So another main point that I wrote down is Candace versus Mia. Now we know that that's like an ongoing brew. Like those two are just not gonna, you know. But Mia, so okay, let me just say how it started. Mia came to Candace's video launch. She was making her video for her song, and she said it was low budget. And I guess Candace is upset because she said this is something she's worked so hard on, and she felt like Mia you know, was definitely trying to look down on something she worked really hard on. And I will actually that right there, I will have to agree with Candace because I feel like, this is something she's super passionate about. She's passionate about her music. And it would, I think it would hurt to hear someone call something that you're working really hard on. And and it's not like someone is funding it for you. You're funding it out of your pocket because I don't think at that time she was even signed by a record label. So that everything that she is doing for her music, she was funding it for herself. So I do have to agree with Candace. Like I would be upset as well too. And I guess that's how it all started. So what are your thoughts on that? Like this whole, Mia saying, "Oh, Candace's um music video was low budget."
well, it's I don't know. I'm gonna say no comment. No, I'm not like I'm speechless. I don't know what to really say. I don't honestly. I'm just gonna have that leave it at no comment.
Okay, that works too. Okay, so all right. Okay, so then Candace, they always argue, and Candace always throws this jab like your mama, your mom, your mom, your mom, your mom. And we all know that Mia's mom is recovering, she's recovering, and sometimes she relapses, yeah. So she relapses and Candace throws this, always your mama, your mama, your mama. And she said that she didn't know about Mia's story, but I feel like, she said it multiple times for Candace to know what Mia's mom is going through. And Mia says, well, if her mom relapses, she's going to blame it on Candace. And in Candace's defense, she said that, it's not fair that Mia always says that if her mom relapses, she is going to be the cause of her mom relapsing. And she says that, well, it's actually not her fault. So Candace saying it's not her fault, but it's actually Mia's fault because she is the one who brought her mom on the show. And Mia brought her mom on the show for storyline. And Mia says that no, it's not because she didn't bring her mom on the show for storyline. Her mom wanted to come on the show because she wanted to tell her story. And Candace is saying, well, it looks like she didn't. So is it fair that Mia keeps throwing out that Candace is the main is if her mom relapses, it's Candace's fault? Like, do you think I think for me, how I see it, I don't think it would not be Candace's fault, but Candace should stop. Like, I don't understand why every time you have a why people always say your mom, your mama, your mama, your mama. Dr. Headley used to say that. And I would think for someone who has a such a wide variety, like a very diverse vocabulary like Candace, I would think that your mama shouldn't even be a part of a vocabulary. Do you get what I'm saying? Even Dr. Heavenly says that all the time
I
about
agree.
mom.
I agree. And I don't even understand why that word, that term or that phrase is still being used with these ladies. Oh, your mom, your mom, your mom. It's like, can we, instead of like going for the jugular, why can't we, say something else? You replace that with something else. Why is it always? And to be quite honest with you, when you are, not in cahoots with someone, and the next thing that comes is your mama, that tells me. I mean, I don't know what else. I mean, it explains who you are at that point, right? It really does. And that's all that I need to know about you. If you're calling on someone's mom, or you're using that. And what if that person's mom, like for instance, look at Mia, her mom is relapse and stuff. So it's like, don't you think? How do you think it makes her feel? If you're using that term, what if someone's mom, or is not alive, or something tragic happened? Why do we always have to go for, oh, your mom, your mom, your mom? I don't, and it's so sad because it's like, why are we still using that phrase? It baffles me because I'm like, these are women. I think they're a little bit being more sensitive when using that time, using that term, and whether or not if they're trying to get back at someone, or there is just the only thing that they could feel like they need to say. They don't have any other terms, or in their vocabulary they use your mom. So it's just another low blow.
Exactly. And I'm like, Candace, you are such a um, diverse, like, you have um such a strong vocabulary. Why are you going from your mom, your mom, your mom? That actually shows me that it's actually intentional. You're doing it intentionally because you can use anything else. This is actually the first time that she has said your mama. She could say it to Ashley, who she's argued with multiple times. She could have said it to Monique, but she didn't. She intentionally said your mama to Mia because she knows that that is Mia's weak point. So that's my thoughts on that. So I think that Candace knows why she is saying your mama to Mia, because she knows it's definitely Mia's weak point. But I don't think it's fair that Mia is blaming Candace if her mom relapses. I think that's I don't I to me I don't think it's fair that she is doing that. Um but Candace, she knows why she keeps saying your mama, your mama, your mama. And they talk about firing actually. And people are, begging Andy to actually fire Candace. And that's when she begins to cry because she knows. Oh, Candace knows she's in a hot seat because Andy just looked over it. Andy looks like he is done. He is tired. I don't know, guys. I don't know if because it's just at this moment, it's not even, oh, she can read. Candace can read. It's more of so looking like a liability to the network, to Andy, I mean, the show. She's looking more so like a liability because they don't know what she's going to say, you know. No one knows what she's going to say, what's going to come out of her mouth. No one knows. And at this moment, it's honestly a liability the way that how sensitive things people are, how sensitive television is becoming. Anything like Candace she's becoming a liability th- to the network and to the show. And Andy's really grilling Candace like, or how have you changed? Um the way you respond to people. So he's actually just trying to warn her, but she's not getting it. She has she's not getting what Andy is trying to essentially indirectly tell her, like warn her. How, Candace, how have you changed the way you talk? He's given her warnings. So I'm sure Andy likes Candace. He probably wants her on the show, but he's really trying to warn her, like, Candace, how have you changed? But the thing about it, they always say, like, just because you're smart doesn't mean you have common sense. And, intelligence does not equal common sense. And that is what Andy was trying to warn Candace, like, Candace, how have you changed the way you talk to people? How does that work for you? He's asking her that. And she continues to talk and just continue to dig herself back in. If it was like someone who is, as the Kenya Moore, who's very, very diverse in her speech and also very well spoken, she would have got the cue right there. She would have got the cue what Andy was doing. Yeah. Okay, so we've been on here for 42 minutes, almost 43 minutes. I just wanted to come on here to chit chat with you all about Real Housewives of Potomac reunion, my thoughts, what I thought about the reunion. Yeah. It's not a review, it's just more so a recap. And um I would like to know what your thoughts are. Do you feel like the show is being a little bit too judgmental? Potomac is becoming too judgmental. Do you think the ladies are being too judgmental? And do you also feel like the ladies need to really back off on Giselle, and especially her being a single mom, not her, but not having a man? It's becoming very misogynistic. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think that, some of the ladies were doing the most on this on in this reunion? Let me know, especially if you haven't watched the reunion. If you have, let me know. And also if you haven't, you're waiting to watch the reunion, come back and let us know what your thoughts are so far. We'll try to get a full review out tomorrow or within the week. We'll definitely try to do that. But this is just like, a first thoughts of Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. But I would like to thank you all so much for those who have tuned in. I really appreciate it. Please make sure you like this video. Also, make sure you subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out. Thank you all so much. Peace, love, and blessings.